Hi, Paul. It's Cheryl in the chambers. Can we do a quick sound check?
You bet, Cheryl. Good morning.
Perfect. Thank you.
Wonderful. Okay, thank you very much. Welcome, everybody. I know we have some presentations today, so thank you very much for taking the time to join us. I'll call commencement to the meeting at 9:30. And I will ask for a motion, or I'll start with attendance. Everybody's here, feeling well for the most part. And I would ask if somebody would make a motion as customary by Mr. Ken Mackay to make a motion for the agenda as presented.
Well, you almost did that. I hope you're feeling well. I hope you've been sick since you've taken office, so.
Since I started working next year, yeah.
All right, that the February 24th, 2026 agenda be adopted as presented.
Perfect, thank you. We can just go to a vote. Perfect, that motion passed unanimously. I don't believe we have any presentations, delegations, or announcements at this time, as well as any business arising from that. So I'd ask for a counselor to make a motion for the consent agenda as presented. Don't everybody put their hand up at once, but there we go, Counselor Bermansky.
Thank you. That the recommendations in the following agenda reports be approved. 6.1 regular city council meeting minutes of February 3rd, 2026, and special council strategic planning meeting minutes of February 10th and 11, 2026. 8.1 appointment to the Subdivision and Development Appeal Board, and 9.1 quarterly policing update.
Thank you very much. We can go to vote. Great, that motion passed unanimously as well. Okay, so we will go to committee business. We have to start our Youth Advisory Committee 2025 annual report presented by Sage Yakimchuk, who's our chair for the Youth Advisory Committee. So welcome.
Move this a bit. Perfect. Good morning, Council. It's been a privilege to serve alongside the members of the Youth Advisory Committee for 2025. I'm grateful for the opportunity to contribute to a group that is deeply committed to representing youth voices and facilitating civic engagement here in St. Albert. This year, the Youth Advisory Committee had a heavy focus on learning, collaboration, and capacity building. Members demonstrated growing ability to thoughtfully engage with municipal systems, policy development, and long-term planning, strengthening the committee's role as an informed advisory body. Through a variety of educational opportunities, the committee has continued to build knowledge required to contribute meaningfully to discussions and provide perspectives unique to St. Albert youth. The committee participated in several presentations from internal city departments, providing members with valuable insight into municipal operations and strategic priorities. Members collaborated with the Recreation and Parks Department through a walking tour, as well as a presentation focused on Grey Nunn White Spruce Park. The Environment Department delivered a series of presentations on energy efficiency, climate adaptation, and the city's environmental initiatives, supporting members' understanding of environmental planning, implementation, and communication at the local level. Additionally, members joined council and city administration on a bus tour of the city, gaining insight to new projects and developments in our community. Beyond internal learning opportunities, committee members engaged in several external leadership and advocacy opportunities. 2 members attended an online harms youth policy training through an invitation extended to the committee by the John Humphrey Center for Peace and Human Rights. This strengthened the committee's awareness of digital safety, online advocacy practices, and emerging policies regarding cyberbullying and digital exploitation. 1 member participated in a mobility choices strategy session, providing a youth perspective to accessibility, transportation, and mobility planning discussions in St. Albert. In April, members attended a regional youth conference connecting with youth councils across the greater Edmonton region. We shared experiences and discussed common priorities and issues facing youth in our communities. Collectively, these experiences reflect a committee that is committed to growth in confidence, professionalism, and purpose. The Youth Advisory Committee increasingly values informed dialogue, diverse perspectives, and evidence-based advocacy, positioning itself as a constructive thinking advisory body. Looking ahead into 2026, the committee is well positioned to continue amplifying youth voices while strengthening relationships with council and administration. I am proud of the dedication and the thoughtfulness presented by the committee members this year, and I am optimistic about the impact the committee will continue to hold as it builds on this foundation. Thank you for council and administration for the ongoing support of youth engagement, and to the members of the Youth Advisory Committee for their commitment to leadership and care for our peers. I would also like to give special thanks to Shannon Pillar, our committee staff liaison, and former City Councilor Natalie Jolie, our 2025 council representative. Their contributions to youth across the city provide strong examples of leadership and compassion, and the Youth Advisory Committee has been extremely grateful to learn from them. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, and certainly appreciate your time and your effort with the committee. We'll open it up to some counselors. They may have some questions or feedback, so I'll move it to Councillor Cortat to start.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you very much, Ms. Yakimchuk, for the presentation and the report this morning. Really appreciate it, and thanks for your work on the committee. I was just looking at the terms of reference for the Youth Advisory Committee, and it sounds like, based on your report, a lot of what happened in the past year was sort of development, training, development kind of things. Were there items that were referred to the Youth Council from council to, so the terms of reference say that the council will provide policy feedback to the city, and that council shall endeavor to provide what does it say? Refer 2 matters per calendar year to the committee. So were there any matters referred to the Youth Council this year?
Not officially, off the top of my head. There have been certain things where our council representative will bring up things that have been talked about in council meetings, but nothing specifically has been given to us to advise on, just us kind of giving our opinion on specific council matters, but not directly asked of us. We did just update our bylaw last year to say that those 2 to 4. So I believe it's still kind of in that process of, getting things for us to advise on. I believe the last big item that we were able to advise on from council was the legalization of marijuana back in a couple of years ago. So it's been a while, but nothing official as of yet.
Okay, thank you very much.
Well, I don't think there's any other comments or feedback, so thank you so much for taking the time, and wish you all the best. So thanks for being here. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Okay, we'll move to 7.2 for the Arts Development Advisory Committee 2025 Annual Reports. I'd invite Miss Emily Baker, the 2025 chair, and Tamara Birch, the 2026 chair, to come up and present. Thank you very much.
Arts Committee, I have visuals. Just give me a second to set them up.
Like it's wanting me to sign in to be able to share this. Is that something tech can help with?
Jaden? Just give him 1 second. We'll get our,
Sure.
Jaden's just looking at it from the IT side.
Fabulous. Here we go. Righty. If everyone's ready, thank you, Mayor and councilors, for having me today. My name is Emily Baker, and I was last year's chair of the Arts Development Advisory Committee, local arts enthusiast and general passionate nerd about town. So what I wanted to do with this year's Arts Development Advisory Committee annual report was to provide an overview of everything that happened in 2025, a little preview of what's coming in 2026. There's a lot of projects that are ongoing, as well as give a little bit of background and reference and resources for you as you're doing your work to understand how public art functions within the city and what the Arts Development Advisory Committee is asked to do. I'm not going to read this verbatim, but I did put pictures in, so we're just going to scroll through to some of those. But the introduction gives a little background on what the Arts Development Advisory Committee does, how we were founded, how we operate within the city. But one of the things that members really enjoy is being asked to act as jurors and adjudicators for grants and awards that the city helps to facilitate. In 2025, we were asked to provide members for adjudicating the Young Artist Legacies Award, which was done and awarded, I believe, in the springtime last year. And what happens with those adjudication opportunities is generally a city staff member will come who's helping to facilitate the grant or award and ask ADAC members to volunteer to act as jurors. This year, jurors were quite delighted to see that there had been a funding increase for the YALA Awards, and they were able to award 6 grants this year instead of the 4 that we were doing in 2024. And so youth from across our community were able to attend summer dance intensive music camps and all sorts of creative opportunities all across the country, thanks to the funding from this grant. ADAC members were also asked to act as adjudicators for the Mayor's Awards for the Arts, which are coming up on March 18th. And so I've included the short list of nominees who've been included and tapped for this year's iteration of the Mayor's Awards for the Arts, which do take place every 2 years. And so there's artists recognized in the emerging artist category, mid-career, young artists, arts champions, and the Lifetime Achievement Award. And those will be given out on March 18th at the Arden. I'm sure you've all been invited, but you should definitely attend because it's a really lovely evening to celebrate the incredible arts community that we have here in St. Albert. And as a special note, the Lifetime Achievement Award winner is added to a piece of public art that's in the city's collection. It's the work that's just behind the library on the glass. And so every Lifetime Achievement winner has their name engraved onto one of those leaves, becoming part of our community and leaving a lasting legacy forever. ADAC also helps to advise on the maintenance of our public art collection. It is substantial. There is always a lot of work that needs doing. And so I've listed highlights of the projects that did take place and some of the repairs and work that was done to help care for the collection, especially some of those outdoor pieces this year. One of the major projects that was taken on was updating all the plaques that sit by all the public art pieces to be something that's much more weather resistant, much more difficult for damage or to take place, and sort of provides more of that information that people want to be able to learn about the public art in our community. Sorry. And then in 2026, there's a few projects that are ongoing. Blooms will be getting an update, so new moisture barrier underneath to continue its protection. Appraisals of the I think it's about 200 pieces in our 2-dimensional artwork in the permanent collection, and other miscellaneous projects that are coming up to ensure that we're providing our duty of care as stewards of this public art collection. But the exciting part is, what projects did we complete last year? And so whenever you walk through the downtown area of St. Albert, we are now greeted by these incredible art banners that have been added along St. Anne Street and Peron State and St. Thomas Street out front here at St. Albert Place. And so this project came about through funding that was set aside in 2018 by the City Council to create public artworks that were addressing diversity and inclusion and wanting to include more voices and more stories within our community. 2 of the projects that we completed in 2025 were using this funding that had been set aside. And the first one was this banner project. And so this call was open to local and regional artists and looking to include artists whose voices hadn't normally been part of, or hadn't historically been part of, our visual arts collection. So artists who are from minority backgrounds or immigrant experiences, and wanting to really include and create artwork that would be specifically designed to create a sense of welcome and diversity and visibility within the downtown core, creating this vibrancy in the region. So 3 local artists were selected for the project, and they created 4 new pieces each, which means not only did we get the banners for this project, we got 12 beautiful original artworks that are going to be framed in 2026 as well. And so these artists met together and created a suite of works that looked at creating vibrancy and brightness, a sense of welcoming within the community. And I'm going to keep myself in check because my tendency is to talk way too much about art. And so if you have questions about what each of the pieces means or would like background, feel free to come ask me. But there's a little bit of information about each of the artists and some of the materials they're working with, which are really unusual, especially within the world of public art. You don't get embroidery in public art very often, and the Banner Project allowed for that. Children's Festival 2025 was another really delightful hit with artist Kelsey Fraser coming and activating St. Albert Place inside and out. There's these delightful paintings that were on the mirror, on the sliding glass doors, figures and caricatures all throughout the building, lots of hidden nuggets. There was mustaches and monocles added to the mirrors in the bathrooms, as well as these delightful photos of mayor and council members as children, which I firmly believe should be standard practice moving forward if you want to work on that. But it was a really delightful sense of play and activation within St. Albert Place for the Children's Festival. And a lot of those murals that were done on the glass stayed throughout the summer. And so you kind of come in and you're welcomed into this building with a smile, a little bit of nostalgia, a sense of whimsy. And there is an artist who's been selected for 2026, Smokey Draws. And so that activation of St. Albert Place will be coming back again for the 2026 festival. Another major project that happened last year was at the BMX mural. And so this was a really exciting project with two artists named Kurtz and Zeka, who came through to add a mural to the outside of that BMX jump. It's one you could see from Riel Drive, and for a long time it was like, what is that strange bunker looking thing on the road, like just off the road, what is this? But these two artists had a really great evening of community engagement. There's over 100 kids who use the BMX park, came out to learn how to make mural art, how to work with spray paint. The Arden lent some of their theater backings to be able to give people an opportunity to meet the artists, talk about what they love about this space. And then the artists went away and used a lot of that inspiration in the final work. And so the BMX mascot is a falcon because it goes really fast. And they added that into the mural, as well as a lot of the words that kept coming up from the kids were embedded into the text around the mural. And so now the BMX park has a piece that represents the people who use the park, who adds a ton of vibrancy. Like that road looks way better now from along Riel Drive when you're driving along, and something that means a lot to the student or to the people who use that space. And the next public art piece, I'm kind of just running through through the calendar year. The next piece is what we affectionately call the art bus. And it was using the second half of that funding that had been allocated in 2018 for diversity and inclusion projects. And this is a bus that was wrapped in artwork. And so an artist was selected named Linda Wright, and she designed a painting that could go and be sort of transcribed onto the outside of the bus. I keep a running tally. I've spotted it 18 times now. But the outside of the bus is this really beautiful, vibrant depiction of different types of Indigenous life and citizens who've been part of our community. Linda met with members of the city staff, as well as local Indigenous groups, and took time to ride the bus and talk to patrons there to learn about what they care about in their communities, to how to create a space that can share stories and can share memories and be a place that adds a little vibrancy, a little bit of a smile to everyone's day. But the art's not just on the outside of the bus, it's on the inside of the bus as well. And so each one of those placards that would normally be an advertisement has been changed into an artwork that's paired with one of the priorities that was identified by the city community service team. And so reinforcing ideas like community safety, connection, and creating a space where everyone feels welcome. And a project that is currently ongoing is Element Park. And the artists that were selected for this are Red Knot Studios, who are based in Edmonton. Elements Park is going to be a mural created out of mosaic tiles. And this is going to go up in Element Park, which is on the northern part of our community. And the idea for this is there was a boulder wall, so like a kid's climbing wall, that's been added to the park as a natural playground feature. And the backside of that wall was identified as a wonderful opportunity community for public art. And mosaics last forever. This is something that will permanently be here. You can travel the world and find mosaics throughout history that are still around and still look glorious. And so Red Knot Studio artists met with community members. They had a couple days where you could come and see the tiles. You could play around and make your own mini mosaics. And all of the imagery that was created during those engagement sessions was then brought back to the artist studio and informed the final design, which should be coming hopefully to council very soon. It looks really exciting and stunning, very bright and colorful, the artists are also going to consult in the floral, like the landscaping around the bottom, so that whatever flowers or plants are planted there also work with and in tandem with the mural. One project that is now sort of getting closer to the community consultation phase. And so this is this community engagement that I've been mentioning with a lot of these projects, is the Red Willow West Meadowview Phase 3 project. Artist Tiffany Shaw was selected to create and identify multiple artworks that could exist along this next phase of the Red Willow Trail. And so this is the most ambitious project that council has taken on, that the city has taken on to date. But it's really exciting because it's an artist who will be able to identify not one project, but multiple projects along the trail, and really supported a lot of the priorities that have been identified by council, by ADAC, and by community members of wanting space and public art that enables sharing of knowledge about the land, the landscape, the history, and the cultures that all shape and add to our community. And so there is a link to Tiffany's website there. She's an incredibly accomplished public artist and architect who's done a really wide range of different initiatives in different projects in different cities. So I'm very excited to see what happens with that. And so that's something that's coming in 2026. So that call was selected in 2025, but that one will be ongoing, hoping to have everything installed and wrapped up by 2027. Some of these projects take a little time. One of the projects that came from an ADAC member was a community activation. We were talking about how all communities in St. Albert have these secret parks, these hidden gems that are tucked away. And so in 2026, we want to come up with some sort of art-led activation that encourages people to go and explore our community, to find other neighborhoods' secret parks, and use art as a way of sort of engaging and encouraging people to visit these spaces. And so that's another project that's been funded for 2026. And you'll hear more about it as we move along. And then the last one that I wanted to touch on for 2026 that has been funded is the Public Ops CCAN mural. And so Public Ops has just gotten a new office that's a refurbished CCAN, and it's sitting there just waiting for having something more vibrant, more exciting, added to the outside of the CCAN to make it a more vibrant space. And so funding has been set aside to add a mural to the exterior of that CCAN, making it hopefully a nice like selfie zone. When you go recycle, you can take a picture with the public art as you're there, but add a lot of liveliness and vitality to that space as well. And then just at the end, there's a listing of where what funds have been committed from public art, the uncommitted public funds, and the maintenance reserve. So, and thank you for having me today. Sorry if I talk too much. So.
Well, thank you very much for the presentation, and I certainly look forward to the Mayor's Awards on March 18th. I apologize for the video in advance because that's a piece of work in itself to get me to record something like that. You could call that art as well, but we'll open it up to some feedback, and I'll start with Mr. Cortash.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Emily. I don't have a question. I just want to publicly acknowledge the work that you do in our community. I noticed that you went pretty quickly past the Mayor's Arts Awards there, but you are a champion, an arts champion nominee this year, and so congratulations for that. You are a champion for the arts in our community, and just really appreciate all the work that you do for the Arts and Heritage Foundation, the museum, our downtown, our community, and you are an art nerd, and I love that about you. Thank you for all that you do.
You're welcome. Thank you. We have some really excellent committee members this year as well, and I'm excited for Tamara to take the torch as I pass it on to the next chair, and she will be just as nerdy and as excited as I am.
Thank you, and I will move it to Councillor Hughes.
I'm not going to have a question, but I just wanted to make a statement that we actually didn't have this committee even a decade ago. This only came in the past council before maybe 6 years now, and there's so much that this committee is so involved in, and just the ability of the transparency to know what's being done for art, how much it's costing, what's the new things, letting the public know about that. That in itself is invaluable, but it's surprising that we did not have this committee so much earlier because they certainly have a task ahead of them each year. And I appreciate the contributions that they're doing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Hughes. Councillor Bermansky?
Thank you, and I want to thank Emily as well again for chairing the committee for so many years and passing it on now. Well-deserved rest from chairing the committee, but you've done a wonderful job, and so I can't emphasize that enough. The also other thing that I want to mention is with the funding that's provided for the arts in the city, it's being provided more value to the city. We're having art everywhere now, which is exciting. So we had more of a focus in specific, like maybe downtown area before, and now it's throughout the city, and we're seeing value and beauty in every corner. So I'm very excited about that. So I just wanted to thank you and welcome the new chair as well. And it's a great committee. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Emily. And yes, thank you for everything you've done for the community. It's evident you're passionate about this, and welcome Tamara to to chairing the committee going forward. So appreciate it. And we look forward to working with you guys some more. So thanks a lot.
We'll
Have
get
a wonderful day.
another lengthy report next year.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, we will move to 7.3, which is our 2024-2025 St. Albert Policing Committee Annual Report. And Mr. Paul Specht is here to present. Thank you.
Your worship and councillors, good morning. My name is Paul Specht. It has been my pleasure to serve on the City of St. Albert Policing Committee for the last 5 years, which included being the chair in 2025. The intent of this morning is to highlight the contents of the annual report, which has been included in your agenda package today, answer any questions that you may have, after which the annual report will then be submitted to the province. The top 3 long-term priorities identified in 2023 by the Policing Committee continue to be crime reduction, mental health and vulnerable communities, domestic and relational violence and assaults. And in 2025, as a result of community engagement feedback, traffic safety was added as the 4th top priority. These priorities form part of the consultation with the detachment commander in the development of the annual policing plan. Community engagement is one of the key activities of the Policing Committee outside of the regular committee meetings. This past year, the committee participated in the Lifestyle Expo and the Farmers Market, as well as several informal consultations with other local committees and groups within St. Albert. With the changes that have come about with the revised Police Act and regulations, the committee's public complaints director position was removed by the province. The Policing Committee lobbied through the Alberta Association of Police Governance, commonly referred to as the AAPG, to replace the position with what we named the Public Liaison Director position. We felt there needed to be a position dedicated as a go-to for members of the public with issues of concern. To the best of my knowledge, there is support at the province for this type of position being included in the committee structure, but I'm not aware that it has been officially accepted. There are 2 other major changes to the committee structure and mandate which are pending at this point. The province has included in the revised regulations the ability to appoint its own members to the Policing Committee on a ratio of 1 of their appointed members for every 3 municipal appointed members. I'm not aware that this process has actually begun. The other significant addition to the Policing Committee mandate is the requirement for the Policing Committee to develop a community safety plan. The last communication I am aware of in this regard was through a question and answer session with the minister this past fall. A transcript we received in December indicated a template was being developed that would minimize, and I caution those are my words, not theirs, the effort to develop, modify, or amalgamate existing community safety plans to satisfy this new requirement. On behalf of the committee, I would like to offer a big thanks to the support the committee has received from City Council in its endeavors, including the recent approval for the increase in the authorized strength of the detachment. I would also like to recognize and thank Staff Sergeant Dwayne Moore for his support as acting detachment commander during the rather lengthy staffing process to replace Inspector Ryan Kamaniak. Close enough, I guess, sorry. I would also like to acknowledge the tremendous support from all of the policing committee members, Monica Shuttleworth, Crimson Fezzik, Kristen Kalmbach, sorry, Bill Turnham, and Ian Sanderson. I would also like to congratulate now Inspector Aaron White in his appointment as the new detachment commander. The 2026 chair of the policing committee is Bill Turnham, and the co-chair is Kristen Kalmbach. The committee is in good hands going forward. At this time, I am prepared to try and answer any questions you may have. I'm sure that between Councillor Mackay and myself, we should be able to answer most of the questions that you may have. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speck. That's, first of all, thank you for your time and that you spent on this committee. It's certainly appreciated. I think you're giving Councillor Mackay a little bit too much credit that he can answer all the questions, but we're going to endeavor to do that. We'll start with Councillor Hughes.
Thank you. I'm just, the council and the policing priorities, that's determined by the policing committee, correct? I'm looking at Ken as well, but you may have the answer as well. So, because it doesn't come before council, I'm just mentioning this and that under the line of traffic safety, that drag racing in the summer, I'm just bringing up that may be a consideration you guys may want to expand on when you discuss the priorities for next year, because it's definitely an issue for many people. And I'm going to keep bringing it up. That's what I'm going to keep doing.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry, Paul.
Yeah.
I know you've presented that when we've had other
Yep.
conversations, and certainly that and other traffic issues has led to the fourth edition in relation to the priorities in relation and again, going to kind of some of the staffing challenges that we had earlier in the last couple of years where we had to take members from traffic section, put them out on general duty. So now that we're managing to staff up, you'll see, and you have seen in the consent agenda item where you talked about police stats, even as of third quarter of 2025, our numbers have increased around enforcement activities. So I can only imagine that that will continue. And as to specific sites, yes, I mean, the policing committee can only advise in relation to that, but certainly we'll take it forward.
That's it. Thank you.
And just as a further comment, the issue of traffic safety and the examples that you referred to was one of the major pieces of feedback that we received during the Lifestyle Expo last April. So the community is definitely shares your concerns as well.
Great. Thank you very much. Councillor Mackay.
Yeah, if there's no more questions, I just want to take the opportunity to comment as well that Paul was very modest in his involvement. He's been the past chair for the 2025. He's stepped away just temporarily, but I want to thank him very much for all you've done for the policing committee, mentoring our new chair and new vice chair. And also, I just want to mention publicly, Ian Sanderson has stepped down this year as well. And both these gentlemen are well recognized, as well as Kristen, for advocating strongly around the new, to provide a lot of public input and committee input in relation to the new changes. You heard in the presentation that there are still a lot of challenges
as it relates to the rollout of the new police act, the new police regulations, and between Ian and Paul and Kristen, our voices added a lot of value into that conversation. But I want to congratulate you and say thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, and I don't believe there's any other comments, so thank you for presenting again this morning. Appreciate it. All the
thank you.
best. Okay, we're just flying through here. I know it was on consent for 8.1, but I just want to publicly acknowledge Ken Benson's been added to our subdivision and development appeal board due to just some changes with that committee. So that got pushed through on consent, but I just wanted to make note of that. And Councillor Cortesh? Yeah, we can open that. Bill, can we open that up if Councillor Cortesh has a committee question or?
Sure.
Yeah.
I should have what? Oh, sorry, maybe this is the wrong.
Yeah, it should have happened on each one in those cases. That's okay.
Okay, I
Yeah,
thought-
we got staff available where you can
Okay,
answer.
my apologies. I'll get there. I had a question about the Youth Advisory Committee and how do we put items in front of them, or how does that process happen? Is that council motion? Is that if there's something that we'd like them to advise on, how do we put that in front of them?
Yeah, so the bylaw provides that it has to be a matter referred to that committee from council. So it has to be a council resolution of some kind. So it could either be from an agenda item that administration is bring forward, and administration could recommend the council refer the matter to that committee. So there could be a motion passed as recommended by administration, or it could be a notice of motion that's brought forward by a councillor to ask council to pass a resolution to direct or refer a matter to the committee. Either of those two methods would work.
Okay, thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Moving on, I don't believe we have any emergent items. I've not been made aware of that, and I guess we can move to our civic and external agency updates. Who'd like to start? Councillor Hughes?
Sure. So we had the audit committee meet, and we'll be having another meeting for a further update in the next month or so. But we just have now moved forward with the latest audit, which is moving towards just the data policy and processing of how we're going to be handling our data. Administrations are excited about seeing this come forward, and it will be in collaboration with providing more input for the larger, I'm going to call it data plan that we have that's involving quite a bit of software to help make sure that that is a better, like the most success it can be. So that's what happened with the audit. And the waste minimization met, and it was just really an intro meeting at this point, and we just set the terms for the rest this year. That's it, thanks.
And you've taken on the chair role for the internal audit.
Yes, I took on the chair role because why not? I enjoy it, so.
Absolutely. Okay, anybody else have Councillor Bermanski?
Thank you. February 12th, the Intercity Forum on Social Policy met for the first round this term. It was the elections of the chair, the vice chair, and the treasurer. And I just wanted to mention that Connie from administration has been the treasurer for quite some time for the group. And the idea is to pass it on to another municipality. So that's being lined up at this point. And I just want to thank Connie for all the work that she does for that, because it's a lot of work. At the session, the group, a lot of new members in the group, a lot of new members working in FCSS in the community. So that was quite apparent. And there was a large amount of discussion related to the AISH transition to Alberta Disability Assistance Program, and how the group felt about that and what advocacy they want to relay to the province prior to the implementation of that. So that was the main focus of that meeting, and it's an organized group and ready to go, and it was quite productive group. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor. Councillor Mackay.
Yeah, I can jump in. I've had a couple of meetings as it related to Aero Utilities. For the new members, last year we engaged Ernst & Young in relation to conducting a governance and finance review. That has now begun as of middle of January. And January 30th, Mr. Tom representing Ernst & Young, who many of us are familiar with from a lot of work he does in the region and for the city of St. Albert. Anyways, he provided an introduction and overview of what the governance and finance review was intended to do. So right now we're just in the middle of doing some analysis and draft reports, and are expected at the end of April, actually. So kind of a quick turnaround and kind of hopefully we'll get some really good kind of ideas or direction as to how Arrow can improve. The next meeting, well, we meet bi-weekly with Ernst & Young, at least the committee that's been established with Arrow around that governance and finance review. And then with Edmonton Salutes, we have our next meeting on February 27th, so that's upcoming. And already the internal audit committee has been talked about, and I'm trying desperately to remember what my other committee was, but if I remember, it'll come back. Might be the seniors loss of memory committee. I don't know.
You're the chair. Yeah. Wonderful. Okay. Anybody else? Councillor Patrick?
Sure. The Youth Advisory Committee, we met on February 4th. They had a presentation from the city on safety, so that was kind of cool to see. We're coming up to like their spring intake, so that'll be coming. We're hoping that the youth can walk around at what's the spring at Service Place? What's that called? Spring Fair? Expo. Yes, thank you. I'm drawing a blank on it. Yeah. We're hoping that we can have them walk around there and kind of advertise the Youth Advisory Council. So maybe they can get some good applications in for that. So let's see, what else did I do? The CSAS, they elected a new chair and a new vice chair. So the past vice chair was elected as the chair, and then the brand new to the council is now the vice chair. And their key focus areas this year are going to be just community event grants, capital program grants, outside agency operating grant, and the FCSS. Yeah, so it's always great to sit in on those meetings and hear what they're doing and what they have going on. But the last meeting was mostly orientation to kind of give us an idea of what they're going to do for the year. So wasn't too much discussion, but that's all I have. On Councillor Cortash, we meet with the youth. It's the first Wednesday of the month, if you would like to join in.
Thank you very much. Councillor Cortash?
Yeah, just a quick update. EAC, Environmental Advisory Committee, and Arts Committee don't meet till later this week, so nothing to update there. But the Sturgeon River Watershed Alliance met last week. And so we reviewed some new terms of reference, splitting sort of the political or steering committee advisory side and the technical side, which is going to be made up of staff. So new terms of reference for that committee. Other than that, we appointed by acclamation a new chair and vice chair. So you're looking at the new chair, and the vice chair is going to be Mayor Natsu from Sturgeon County. So I look forward to working with her and advancing the initiatives from the Sturgeon River Watershed Alliance. Is something that I've been working on for a while with my students, and I'm very familiar with the Sturgeon River Watershed report that was done, and look forward to getting started on that committee. I think that's it.
Thank you very much. Councillor Clark?
The Seniors Committee hasn't set another date for their next meeting, so there hasn't been anything since my last report, but I did attend as an observer to the CSAC with Councillor Patrick and to the Audit Committee with the Mayor and a couple of councillors. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And just to wrap it up, I did have a introductory meeting with the new president of Edmonton Global. So there's going to be some more information coming. They're looking at call it a lunch and learn with all of council in the first 2 weeks of March, potentially. where they would come down as well, and pardon me, as well as with Mr. Fletcher if he's available, and to bring an update on 2026 priorities as well as their business plan, and get some kind of a feedback from the municipalities. There's 6 that have remained committed to Edmonton Global, 3 other municipalities are transitioning out over the next 2-year period. But we will get some more information when that becomes available, and we'll send that out to the rest of council to get that booked in. So other than that, that's pretty much it. We can move to item number 12, which is our council motions, and go to 12.1, the Lions Park Water Station, given by Councillor Patrick.
Okay, so that administration incorporate a water station that will serve both people and dogs into the Lions Park capital project.
Okay, before we accept, is there any questions for administration and Councillor McKay?
Yeah, I guess it's to the mover.
Read the report, you read the recommendation by administration to kind of have a separate water feature and their rationale. Any comment in relation to that?
Are you talking about possibly like safety that?
Well, just actually the ease of access and rather than having a combined unit, which I've seen, so I know they exist, but having a water for human consumption separate, and then also an independent one for animals, dogs, whoever.
Yeah, I think that would be okay. Just as, like, I would like to see both in one area close together. So even if they're separate or combined, I think that would be okay. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm just thinking it might be logistically easier to have like a water station for humans, but have a pet station very close by or somewhere along the way too. So I'm just trying to get the intent of your motion. Would that not accomplish it at the same time rather than have the first motion that's very specific and manages operations versus something that's a little broader and more at a governance level?
I see. So I think what I'm hearing is just like in my motion, it says combined. So just having an option to potentially having one fountain here and one fountain here. I think that would be fine if we were able to do it. My only concern would be, would that cost more, or what are the logistics between putting 2 fountains?
Mr. Mayor, if I might help, there is a suggested alternative.
Yeah, that's what I was referring.
Where we're going with this?
That's where I was going with it, and that's what the intent of the first question was. So I guess the follow-up to that question would be to administration then, in relation to costs. I mean, rather than having one standalone station potentially in only one part of the location, you could have you could have the freedom to actually put a drinking fountain for humans and then actually have another separate fountain or water dispensing system for animals. And I guess just to follow up, what do you see as most expensive, or what would you see as most doable?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think our administrative recommendation ultimately would be the alternative, just because it provides that additional flexibility. The detailed design would figure it out. It's still marginal cost either way. It wouldn't have a significant impact on the overall project. So not really concerned about the cost regardless of what form it takes. Alex, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, Councillor McKay, I think as we go through the design phase, just because we don't know the details of it right now, the recommendation that we have provided just gives us that flexibility to explore the domain and see what works best for that location. From a cost perspective, the number that we've thrown in for is about $15,000, but moving to a secondary fountain would not increase the cost significantly more than that. So it'll be around the same ballpark.
Okay, thanks. That helps.
Thank you very much. Councillor Cortez, do you have additional comments or questions?
Thank you. I was just going to move that it be amended to the alternative motion there, if that's the appropriate course of action.
But it hasn't been accepted yet, Councillor.
okay.
So because it hasn't been accepted, the chair can take it an alternate motion if it's not accepted, if the mover wishes to change it.
I can read the alternate as well.
Sure, yeah, we haven't accepted the original motion, so we can look to amend it before we accept it, sure.
So that administration include drinking water access for people and dogs within the redevelopment scope for Lions Park.
Perfect. Now, is there any other questions or comments? Councillor Bermansky?
Thank you. A question for administration regarding the backgrounder where it mentions the risk to animals of certain diseases being transmitted, you know, kennel cough, salmonella, and then the cleaning of the fountains being, you know, more, I guess, more maintenance than your traditional. So how many of these, is there any that exist in Edmonton region or province?
There are a few locations in Edmonton, and I'll have Ms. Podlobny talk about specific details on other ones, but like one of the concerns that has been raised as risk is the fact that there could be potential diseases that are transmitted. Potential mitigation factors for that would include regular cleanup and maintenance of the fountains, but in terms of what's available in the region, there's very limited ones that are there in the Edmonton area.
Okay. Do you have any idea how often they have to be cleaned, or is that just?
Typically, they could be looking at potentially daily cleanup to about 3-week cycles as well. It really depends upon the type of fountain that's been put in there. So if you have one where it's really about the stagnation of water and then any sort of like debris that's left over once dogs kind of go through that fountain. So we would have to look at some regular proactive cleaning on a regular basis, and then a bit more of a janitorial sanitization over a 3-week period.
Okay. So
These are rough numbers right now, but we'll have to get into the details of it.
right. So maintenance could be more expensive than the fountain itself, essentially, in the end.
Not significantly higher, because we like if we are putting a human fountain place as well. So there's regular maintenance that needs to go into that as well. So in comparison, I say we would be looking at very similar practices across.
Okay. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Clark.
Thank you, Mayor. Through you, Mr. Fletcher, have we given any consideration or what is the maintenance on our current adult, like people fountains?
I think we have, like, depending on the type of fountain that's there and depending on the type of functions of the fountain. So if there's a pump system that's likely to be there, the type of maintenance for that would be very different. There's obviously the proactive maintenance when we start, like at the beginning of season, say during the winter season, we completely lock down the fountains. There's a whole different maintenance associated with winterization of those fountains, blowing out the system, making sure the pipes don't break. And then when we start getting operational, there's the piece that is around the proactive maintenance to ensure that there's cleanliness and the water is moving through. But also there's the reactive component in case of vandalism and so on that takes place. So it's hard to pinpoint and say exactly what that looks like. It just, like, we can easily do the winterization and the proactive maintenance. It's the reactive one that we would have to, like, it's very dependent on locations and what happens with different types of systems.
Okay, and I don't recall, but in the washrooms in Lions Park, are there or will there be adult, or we call them adult, people water fountains?
I'm going to ask Ms. Podlobny to come on board to answer that specific, because they're dealing with the specific design of that area.
Through the chair to Councillor Clark. So it is the intention to provide water fountains at Lions Park through the redevelopment. It is a standard we look for in our city parks. So although not included right now, we will have water access in the park once we do the redevelopment.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Hughes.
Danielle Winaway. I just suspect I'm gonna need her to come back. So we don't have water fountains there now. I think we did like in the 70s or something. 80s, we had them, and then we took them away, and then we're thinking about bringing them back. And I'm just trying to figure out why we took them away, and then why we're thinking about bringing them back. Like for people, like period, just water in the park.
Through the chair to Councillor Hughes. So water access is something that we're providing at our city parks. So it is something that we have at Lacombe Lake Park, at Woodlands, at our city park sites. It is something we consider in terms of a park asset to provide water to the public. And so certainly want to make sure that we have water access in those spaces. With regard to Lions Park, I would say we've struggled with the site for the little bit from a vandalism perspective, and I can't speak specifically to why that original decision was made, but it is certainly something that we do want to provide in terms of providing human access to water as a general kind of community value, and just making sure that for our users and for the park patrons that they have access to water in our spaces.
Okay. The other question, like the alternate motion, it says we're going to continue to do what we're doing, but still look for opportunities to provide water to dogs. But I don't know what any other way to do this other than that one fountain. Are there other opportunities, other options to actually achieve this goal that you're aware of?
Through the chair to Councillor Hughes, maybe I can ask Mr. Cameron to add anything to this as well. But we have been sourcing out kind of different opportunities. There are different ways to provide water access, certainly. Even when it comes to some of our facilities, we have bottle fillers, and we encourage people to bring, their own I guess, equipment that they need to provide that access. So you can bring a portable dog bowl or whatever you would like. But there are different kinds of pieces of equipment we can purchase. And I would just open it, Mr. Cameron, if you would like to add anything to that. And he says, no, he's good. So I think we're good on that front.
Okay. Have people been asking for this water fountain to be returned? Like, do we actually know the usage rate at all of the other ones that we have in the other parks? I understand like the need for water, but like back in the 70s, we just drank from a hose, you know what I mean? Like, and now they kind of like shy away from that. So I'm just not sure if people, like, since it's outdoors, if they think like dust and dirt get on it, that they just don't use it.
Yeah, through the chair to Councillor Hughes, we do engage the public when we're doing park development to ensure that we're meeting the community needs. We have heard water access as a kind of a need or an identified community need. I wouldn't say lots of people come prepared when they're in our park system to use the park spaces appropriately, but it is kind of a nice to have, especially if you're traveling with younger children or people who have maybe some higher needs for water consumption. Also in the summer when it's warm, we want to provide, kind of resources for people to be able to use to ensure that they're able to manage climate and some of the hotter days. So certainly a benefit to have water in our parks. I would say it is becoming more of a standard expectation in kind of city parks or where big gatherings are happening, which often happens in Lions Park. And so we do see people quite often utilizing our water fountains within our facilities. They often are located inside and sometimes they're outside, but it does provide an opportunity for people to gain water when they're in our spaces.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Just a question in terms of monitoring that's happening, like in the event there's a leak and it's just running and we don't know that, or how does that work?
So as part of the operational maintenance component, we would have to look at regular water check, like the quality checks that's there, especially when it comes to water parks. So that will be part of our regular maintenance process.
And then for water safety and cleanliness and all of that.
That'll be making sure that we're within regulatory compliance to ensure that it's quality drinking water that's being provided. So that'll be all part of the regular maintenance checks that we would put into play with whether it's a people fountain or a dog fountain.
And what is the operational liability if it's reactionary and we have an issue with contaminated water?
I think we'll probably have to go through that in terms of regulations with what AHS puts on us in terms of infractions and.
Okay.
Yeah, I think there's certainly an insurance component, right, that would be tied into that for sure. At the end of the day, the The water quality monitoring would generally be proactive, right, on a set schedule as we go forward, right? It's, again, not being able to control all the eventualities, I
Yeah.
think, to your point, whether it's vandalism or some sort of contamination aspect, we'd have to deal with that as it arose.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Councilor Bermansky.
Thank you. One more question for Danielle, if she's still there, please.
But if I could just ask you to
Oh.
fire it out, we'll
Oh,
quarterback
okay,
it. Thanks.
okay. I was just questioning if during the public consultation, if it was deciphered whether people were being asked if they want access to water for washing their hands or if drinking water was separated from access to flushing toilets and sinks as such.
Ms. Lumley, are you?
Sorry, through the chair to Councilor Bermansky. I would say as part of having a washroom facility, of course, we'll have hand washing available there. So that's more of an expectation that we would provide that with the washroom facility. As it relates to drinking water, I think it's more of an expectation in terms of having a space that you can easily garner water for consuming. And it's what's kind of a different feel than getting drinking water out of a bathroom sink. We often provide a water fountain, which is, that potable water that's then not recirculated. It's clean for access and it's just optically there for people to consume. So it's usually providing two different sources of water.
Okay, I understand that, but I was just asking if in the questioning, when you were doing the consultation, if you were specifically asking about drinking water locations or bottle filling locations.
Right.
Or, yeah.
Right. Yeah, through the chair to Councilor Bermansky. So as we work through the engagement on the design of the park, we probably wouldn't get that specific. We'll probably use it more as best practice in terms of how we operate the parks and also using, feedback from our other stakeholders internally, whether that be our public operations staff who maintain the site and just our event staff in terms of knowing where that provision would make the best sense. We'll plan it accordingly. It's more that we understand the need to be for drinking water. It'll be from a more of a logistical or an operational side of where we will locate it within the park.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Councilor Patrick, I believe you have some questions or comments.
Yeah, just a question for administration regarding Mayor Olivieri mentioned like what if a leak happened or something like that. And I just wanted to check in as a frequent park user, I've arrived sometimes running early in the morning, wanting to use the bathroom is locked because it hasn't been opened yet. So as far as I know, we have city crews that go out, open bathrooms in the morning and close bathrooms in the evening. And I just understand that if that is the case on a regular basis, they would be able to monitor. Just want to comment on that.
Councillor Patrick, as part of our operational maintenance program, I think we would be looking at the fountains in such a way that we want to ensure that they meet compliance and within the public health standards. So we would be incorporating that into our practice to ensure that there's a quality check that's done on the water regularly.
Is that, Councilor Patrick, is that sufficient? Okay, I will, if there's no other questions for administration or comments, I will accept the amended motion and we can open it up for debate. So you can open, Councilor Patrick.
Okay, thank you. So Lions Park is a very well-loved community space, and in all seasons, you can find this park filled with families, with runners, athletes, and dog owners. As our city continues to prioritize active living and accessible public amenities, I believe that now would be an ideal time to consider small and meaningful upgrades that enhance the experience for all of our park users. And this proposed water fountain access represents a simple and a low-cost improvement that could benefit the entire community. For residents, it offers convenient access to clean drinking water, supporting longer visits, healthier outdoor activity, but also reducing reliance on single-use plastics. For dog owners, it provides an accessible way to keep their pets hydrated, especially during the warmer months when Lions Park sees high use from walkers, runners, and families. that enjoy our beautiful trail system. This type of amenity aligns with our community values of wellness, environmental stewardship, and pet-friendly spaces. By installing a water fountain that serves both human and dogs, St. Albert will continue to improve its parks in a thoughtful and accessible way that serves both people and our animals, contributing to a more welcoming and enjoyable space for everyone. That's all I have.
Great, thank you very much. We'll open it up to any other comments. Start with Councillor Clark.
Thank you, Mayor. And first of all, I want to commend Councillor Patrick for bringing this forward. I think it's a useful addition, but unfortunately, I can't support the dogs being included. As a committed dog owner and experience in multitudes of venues, I know how quickly not only parvovirus, but also kennel cough can ultimately be transmitted. Unfortunately, one unvaccinated dog with kennel cough can, in one single day, infect 1 to 10 dogs in if that contaminant is in a water bowl. And in addition, the parvovirus in unvaccinated dogs is fatal. And the incidents could, I mean, our staff could ultimately be in the park at 10 o'clock, and at 10:15, an infected dog drinks out of a water bowl, and every dog that drinks from that water bowl after that is potentially at risk of becoming infected. And dogs who are vaccinated against parvo and vaccinated against kennel cough aren't necessarily immune to it. They just get the disease with less intensity. I've experienced all of my dogs having kennel cough through dog shows, and it's not a nice experience to listen to them try to breathe. So unfortunately, I could support people. I can't support dogs. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Bermansky.
Thank you. Similar to Councillor Clark's comments, there's too many variables in the, in the pet access. And with this motion, it's my understanding we're voting on the amended motion that is directing administration to include drinking water access, which they were already doing without the motion. So I'm not quite sure why we still have both in this amended motion, but the dog part is an issue for me as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Mackay.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to support this, and really, I'm supporting it because under the alternative, this is just really allowing administration to look at this as an opportunity and an alternative. And certainly if in their research, administration identifies some of the concerns that have been raised by council, then I would think that they would bring it back as due diligence and say these are the concerns they have. And as they move forward with park development, they'll just continue on with developing water features that are safe for humans. And as everybody knows, I am a dog owner as well, and I do carry around water jugs, and if I need water, I could access one of the fountains, and then we'll also use it for my pet. But at the same time, I think that if there's a viable alternative that addresses some of the safety concerns, then I think that this does benefit the residents and the pet owners in our community. And I'm willing to let administration move forward and look at what they can bring back.
Thank you, Councillor. I'll move to Councillor Cortash.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I didn't think this was going to be the most time-consuming thing on our agenda today, but as it goes, I guess sometimes the smaller things take the longest. Yeah, I wasn't planning on speaking to this, but I'll just say that there's dog water fountains in every central park across this country. They're very commonplace. Lions Park is our central park where we have, events daily, weekly throughout the summer. And so if there's any venue in the city where this would be appropriate, it would be Lions Park. I'm not at all concerned about spreading disease in a dog water fountain. If dog owners don't want their dogs to use the fountain, they won't let them use the fountain. So that's as simple as that. And that'll be their choice. And this, as Councillor Mackay has pointed out, this motion is very, very, it's not very prescriptive. It's very general. Just we're doing a redevelopment of Lions Park anyway. There's going to be a huge cost involved in upgrading a lot of the features around Lions Park, and so might as well include this in the scope. It's a small add to what's going to be a large redevelopment of Lions Park, and so I don't see any reason not to support this.
Thanks, Councillor. Councillor Hughes.
Just so you know, Councillor Cortash, generally the motions that have the least amount of money have the most debate behind them. So the only way it would have been more is if it's only cost $700. But nonetheless, the challenge I have with it is just that you can't actually address the disease by saying we'll clean it every time. The only way to do it is actually just have single-use products for the dogs, which, in that case, you can just, I don't really know how you'd address that with just the whole environmental issues of that, but owners can also just use regular water fountains and bring something for their dog and fill it up through regular water fountains as well. So ultimately, I understand the intention and I appreciate the intention. And I've actually I've seen what this is in live form in Vancouver, and it looked cool, but it also didn't look like it was frequently used. So I'm quite frankly torn because I understand the intention behind what you're doing, but I also think there might be a way to actually accomplish it without having that risk. And I hear you, Councillor Cortash, saying maybe the dog owners who aren't concerned about it may not have that, but that doesn't eliminate the risk for the dog that's using it. And ultimately, I'm just like, personally, if it was in front of me, I still would not give it to my dogs. I just would not trust it enough to use it for my dogs. So then is it just that we're putting out the intention, but really the majority of people would still rather use an alternate form to give their dogs water. And so that's the challenge that I'm facing right now with that. That's it. Thank you.
I'm gonna start going first. Yeah, I understand the intent, and I think it's, I appreciate Councillor Patrick acknowledging that there might be a need for the community to have something like this with the redevelopment that's happening. My initial concern right out of the gate was the health impacts that it could have both on humans as well as pets. So quite frankly, I don't have experience with this. I guess if it is working in other communities or it's been implemented but not being used, then is it just a cost that we're incurring and it's not going to have the desired benefits or outcomes? So I am also completely torn on how we want to go about this. And I appreciate that the lowest costs are often the most complicated to try to implement here. So I will move it to Councillor Patrick to make a compelling and earth-shattering closing so we can all make a decision. Yeah.
Well, I think administration has already acknowledged the possible, the potential deterrence. And I think it's we can monitor this, we can learn from this. Our residents can offer feedback. We have a lot of responsible dog owners in this city. And I think that they would, if they are concerned, they wouldn't let their dog, drink from a water fountain. And like Councillor Cortash said, every big city that I've ever gone and visited, I find these fountains are around the city. I see this as a really low cost and low risk opportunity to enhance one of our public spaces while also gathering meaningful data to guide future decisions. By moving forward, I think we give ourselves a chance to monitor its performance, to understand the community response about it, and to determine whether this type of feature could be a valuable addition in other parks and public spaces across our city. And I think it's a really small investment that has the potential to inform larger and longer term planning. And I really believe it's a responsible and forward-thinking step for us to take. That's all I have. I don't know how convincing that was.
Okay, with that, we will move it to a vote. That motion has passed 4-3. Huh? Yeah, I know. Okay, so with that, we will move towards, if there's any IRs, notice of motions or announcements, for item 13. Mr. McKay?
Yeah, I have one, it's an information request. Can administration provide council with information and or statistics regarding the number of times our ambulances are responding to calls for service outside of our community?
Thank you very much. Councillor Hughes?
Yeah, a couple of things. So I have a motion. I'll hit the button to go yes, just to forward it. I tried doing it last night, but the system was down or something. So that up to 14,700 is provided to the AHF for portable washrooms for the 2026 season to be funded from the stabilization reserve. And I had a motion before about the Northeast, which I'm gonna have to amend that motion because it's now technically impossible to fulfill it because I had a deadline of March 3rd or 5th or something. So I'll be amending it to this, that on or before April 21st, 2026, the following motions debated, and I'm putting that directly in the motion just for clarity, that project charter WASWT 021 Northeast Servicing Projects is approved and the first reading of the boring bylaw is brought before council by May 5th, 2026. I had one other question as well, just as like, I can just ask Mr. Fletcher, and I'm not sure how much to answer. But we changed the process for the neighborhood structure plan. Maybe I'm looking to Adrian, I'm not sure. But we changed it to go to administration only. But I'm trying to remember when before, it was almost like they brought everything forward at the same time. Was that correct? And then I know and obviously we changed it. They brought it just the area structure plan and the neighborhood structure plan. So am I remembering that correctly, that we brought everything before at the same time?
Yes, that's correct, Councillor Hughes. So previously, when the city had just the single tier area structure plan process, all of the details of the development were proposed at the time of submittal. So it was a very detailed, very technical document. Administration brought forward the two-tier process as a way to facilitate a higher level of proposed development with the area structure plan, and then the technical details to follow at the neighborhood planning reviewed by administration in a technical manner.
Okay, and so we've never had it where the neighborhood structure plan came separately before council, correct? It was always like the all-in-one or the two-tier where the second half went to admin.
Yeah, that's correct. We actually have not had a neighborhood plan as a standalone previously. It was only an area structure plan with all of the technical information.
Okay. Okay, I may have more follow-up questions. I'm trying to just look at maybe potentially like the timing of how long it's taking to go through, or I just don't know if it's been more efficient or not. I guess has it been more efficient from your point of view? Because that was one of the reasons why we did it that way.
I think we've only had one applicant that's working through that, and they have technical challenges that they haven't resolved yet. So I don't know that that's a fair assessment of the process.
Okay, I'm just trying to, I wasn't sure and I was trying to just remember that. So thank you. That's all I had for questions. That's it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think to follow on that, there'll be maybe some more internal discussions on what that change, the impact of that change, what the policy would like, what that would look like, so that it's reflective of maybe the intent of what we want the neighborhood plans to look like, and if council deems it valid to be involved in that process. So obviously more to come, and we'll wait for some more information that came back after some of the discussions from yesterday as well. So thank you very much. I don't believe there's anything else. So I would say we make a motion to move in camera with the CAO council dialogue. Councilor Bermansky.
The council move in camera to have a confidential dialogue with the chief administrative officer pursuant to section 29(1)(a) of the Access to Information Act.
Thank you very much. We can go to vote. And that motion passed unanimously. Thank you very much. We'll just maybe take a 5-minute, 10-minute break, 5-minute break.